Hey, welcome back to this week's Southwest Florida Market Update. I'm Rick Harrison with MVP Realty, and I'm excited to be back after my hiatus with a brand new format for these updates to bring you deeper analysis of our market and more relevant information for those of you thinking about buying and selling here in the near future. So you get my boots on the ground key insights and top strategies I'm giving my clients on a week-to-week basis. Without further ado, here's what's on the agenda today. So for this week's update, this is the new format that we're going to be using moving forward so you guys can get deeper insights, as I said before. Southwest Florida's market overview. I'm going to do a couple slides of just a general overview, but then I really want to break it down by the city. So I'm going to give you the stats and the trends by city so you can really see if you're looking at a specific area, what that market condition is like for that city. Key takeaways, I'm going to give you some of my key insights as to what this information all means for you as both a buyer and or a seller. Then I'm also going to provide you with my top strategies that I'm giving to clients right now in real time. So you'll have those buyer or seller strategies that you can use or start to think about as you start formulating, getting a better idea of where and when you're going to be moving or potentially selling. As well, I'm also going to do the market news. It's going to be a little bit more localized. I will be still covering some of the macroeconomics, but I'll dive into some of those news stories. And then I'm also going to give you the market futures, or some people like to call them predictions. I don't like the predictions. I like to project. So these will be market futures based on projections of where this information that I'm sharing with you today is going to be taking us in the market future. Let's start off with the market overview. New listings on the left-hand side. This is for the southern part of Southwest Florida, which is where I'm based. This is what I'm going to be focusing on from now on. I want to dive deeper into this particular market from Cape Coral down to Naples. So this market overview, we have new listings this week, 576. That's up 25% week over week. I have that circled in the top left-hand corner, 25% it's up. Solds down, or 194, that's down 56%. Again, that's a lagging indicator, so that's what already happened 30 to 45 days ago. And then pendings are at 399, that's down 10%. So just for these three stats, you can see there's more listings coming on, 25% increase versus pendings, which is people buying homes, that's down 10%. So there's a 30% gap there that's happening right now, which means still shifting towards a buyer's market right now, but not quite there yet. Median sales prices, 396. That's for all of both Lee and Collier County. So we're going to dive into those cities next, but that's just a general median sales price right now. And that actually fell a little bit, about 1% from 400,000 last week. Median price per square foot, around $245 a square foot, which also fell about 1%, right in line with the sales price. And then median days on market is up 10% from 38 to 42 days on market. So for those of you that are selling, just keep in mind, it is taking a little over a month now to sell a home on average. Now, I just wanted to give you guys a better and clearer understanding of the differences between markets and even between homes. So this is a comparison between a 3-2 single family home versus a 3-2 condo. The differences in not only the price, but also the amount of listings that are selling right now. On the left-hand side, you can see the 3-2 single families. The blue bars are the number of sales that have occurred, and then the green bars are the sale price average. I've already gone ahead and circled three of the hottest markets right now. The hottest market right now for single family homes is Cape Coral. As you can see, blue bar there standing well above the rest of them. That's the number of listings that have sold. So Cape Coral is selling the most amount of homes right now by far. It's not even close. And then you have Lehigh Acres actually coming in next. As I've been saying, a lot of people are moving away from the coast and the flood zones and are moving more inland. Lehigh is still an affordable place to live. And there's lots of lots and land to be developed there. And there are some new communities going in as well. So that's going to be up and coming as well. And then you also, of course, have Naples, which is a very popular destination for anybody who's looking to move to Southwest Florida. Still quite a few sales in this area. Fort Myers is right in line with that, but you can see that the sales price from Naples and Fort Myers and the rest of them is quite a bit different as well. And then you move over to the 3-2 for the condos. You can see right here, Naples is actually one of the leaders right now for the number of sales for condos, whereas Fort Myers is the next biggest. But you don't see Cape Coral, Lehigh, or Bonita, or any of those other areas really selling a lot of condos. It's because there aren't as many as there would be found in Fort Myers and Naples. All right, now let's dive into the cities. We're going to start off with Cape Coral, since this is one of the hottest markets right now for single family homes. We're going to have another slide developed that's specifically for condos. So for single family homes, we had 173 new listings come on. That's up 25%. So there's a lot of new listings coming on. Solds, however, this reflects a month ago. That's down 45%. That's quite a big drop. So only 61 sold in the last week. And then pendings, that's up 7%. So again, here you can see the difference between new listings and pendings, from 24% new listing increase to 7% pendings. There are still a lot of buyers in this market, but there's more listings coming on than there are buyers. Median sales price for Cape Coral for single family homes is $480,000. That's up 16% week over week. 16% increase could be accounted for with a couple larger homes, couple $1 million homes being sold that would drive that price up. Median sold price per square foot. If you're looking in the Cape Coral area, you're going to be looking at around $262 a square foot. Then the median days on market, again, it's taking about a month and a half for homes to sell. That's up 32% from 34 days up now to 45 days to sell a home. Don't get worried if your home's not selling within the first month. It's taking longer now. Condos, 21 new listings came on. That's up 40%. Again, these numbers are so small because there's not a lot of condos in the Cape Coral area. It's mostly a single family home area, but there are definitely some areas that have condos. New listings 21, solds only 4, and pendings down half, down to 7. Median sales price for condos, $288,000. Price per square foot, $269 a square foot, and median days on market is about 40. All right, the Fort Myers area for single family homes, new listings, that's up 65%. It went from 58 last week to 96 this week. Solds down 64%. So you can see the inverse here, 28 solds over the last 7 days. And then pendings, that's also down 27%. So there's a huge gap here now in the Fort Myers area. And that's why you saw it in the overview chart that area for single family homes. Fort Myers is really not a lot of single family homes selling right now. The prices are just a bit higher than most people who are looking right now want to pay. Median sales price in the Fort area, $407,000, $245 a square foot, and it's taking about 32 days to sell a home. Condos, same kind of thing here as Cape Coral. 78 new listings, that's up 27%. Solds only 25, and then pendings 54. That's actually down a little bit. So you have about a 35% gap here between new listings coming on and pendings, actually buyers buying homes right now. Median sales price is $335 for condos in Fort Myers, $249 a square foot, and it's taking about 55 days. So this is one of the higher averages for selling condos right now out of these cities. Naples. New listings, 103, that's up 2%. Not a lot of new listings coming on the market in the Naples area. Solds, that's 39, that's down 55%. And then pendings is up 5%. So one of the biggest reasons why Naples is so hot right now is because not a lot of new listings coming on, and it's still a very in-demand market for single-family homes. Median sales price is about $1.1 million, $461 a square foot, and it's still taking 30 days to sell a home, but still that's on the lower end of days on market right now. Naples condos, new listings 84, that's down 8%. Solds 50, that's down 42%. So again, solds across the board are down almost 50% week over week. Pendings, that's down 25% to 60. And then you have the median sales price for condos coming in $441,000 versus the $1.1 million. $303 per square foot. It's quite a bit for a condo, but it is Naples. And then median days on market 45. So this is taking about a month and a half to sell a condo. All right, so here's the key that you can take away from all of this. So I kind of package everything nice and neat for you guys. For buyers, some of the key insights you want to keep in mind: there's more inventory than buyers right now, so that gives you more options. However, the other side of that coin is prices are still increasing, especially in certain areas. So you do need to, if you're going to be trying to get a home, if you really like a home, put in a strong offer. Of course, all of this has to make sense for you. I'm not telling you to go out and buy homes right now. There's no FOMO right now, but prices are still increasing. So if you really want a home, you got to go in strong with an offer right now. Things are still flying off the shelf, especially in the Naples area. Expense factors. So the big things that you want to be looking at in homes right now, because of everything that's going on in the market and policies around the area. Roofs, check the age of the roof. You don't want a roof that's more than 10 to 15 years old if you can help it, or at least factor that into your pricing and your offers. ACs, they last about 8 to 10 years sometimes, but they can go quicker. So if you're getting up to the 8-year range, just keep in mind that is something you'll be replaced in a couple of years. Flood zone. Is it in a flood zone? Flood insurance right now is extremely high. So especially if it was flooded in the hurricane, it's going to be tough to find premiums that are in line with your budget. And then the other thing is assessments. If it is an HOA or there's a community, make sure that there aren't any major assessments outstanding on the home, or if there are, you're aware of what they are. Top choices for condos right now, Fort Myers and Naples is where people are really looking to buy condos. And then top choices for single family homes, Cape Coral's number one. Then you got Lehigh and still Naples, obviously coming in third. Sellers. So here's some things. Sold prices are still rising right now. So that's good news, but it really does depend on the area. Some of the areas like Fort Myers actually have lost a little bit of their price stability. So they're declining a little bit. So depends on the market. Days on market are definitely increasing. It's taking at least a month for most areas now to sell a home. Now, there are still some, hidden gems where people are pricing them right, the first time around. And those homes are flying off the shelves still. They are getting bids within the first day or day after. And we are starting to see multiple bid situations, for certain homes. It's not like it was, but it still is happening. For sellers, pricing is absolutely the key right now in this market. If you price it too high, it's going to sit. People have a lot of options now, so you really need to price it on point. Single family homes are obviously the most in demand right now. And then the other thing, obviously, with more options for buyers, you need to have better marketing. So make sure that your listing agent is going to be providing you all the marketing you need right now. And I'm going to go into a couple of those things, those strategies right now. First of all, above all, buying and selling needs to make sense for you, okay? Don't let anybody push you into buying something or selling right now. Fear of missing out on, top prices, or fear of missing out on, a good price for a home that you're trying to buy. Make sure it makes sense for you in the long run. Okay. Not just short term. Don't bank on interest rates going down, years later and refinancing. That's not a great solution, because we don't know. We might be in a new upswing cycle for interest rates. And I'm going to go over that in a few minutes. For buyers, one of the strategies you need to know about, and you should talk to your agent about this, is the as-is contract versus the standard contract. If you write an offer on an as-is contract during that due diligence time period, which could be 7 days, could be 10 days for your inspections, either one of you, the buyer or the seller, can walk away from the deal for whatever reason, and they don't need to really have any reason to do it. Now, if you're the buyer and you're putting an offer on a home you really want, the standard contract may be an option for you, may be something to consider, because if you really want that home, the standard contract has specific clauses in it that will obligate the seller to correct certain issues like, wood destroying organisms, things like that, structural issues, or even some of the other issues, like if you have an FHA loan, paint chips, they have to repaint, things like that. A standard contract will force the seller to do those things. So that's something to consider as a strategy for your offers. Another one, new construction. They have caught up. There are some builders right now that are building homes in 6 months. They have caught up quite a bit. There's not as much demand, which is why I think they are catching up. But there's a lot of incentives going on. There's a lot more selection. And then the other thing is offers. There are homes out there right now where it's possible to offer 5 to 10% less for the home and still get that offer accepted. However, it's very limited right now. So you really need to go in with a strong offer if you're serious about the home. The first step is always getting the offer accepted. From there, you can always negotiate. But if you don't get the offer accepted, you got no chance at the home in the first place. On the other side, sellers, like I mentioned before, pricing needs to be on point. You need to price it right the first time, market price. Don't try to price it above and hit the trends, because the trend is not up right now. It's stagnant, if anything, and in some places it's actually declining. So you need to be on point so it doesn't sit. When it sits, people start thinking, what's wrong with it? Nobody wants it. Nobody wants a home that nobody wants, right? The other thing, marketing needs to be persona specific. When I say this, think about the home that you own. If you bought it for a very specific reason, think about, why did you buy it? Where were you at in your life? Who would this home be perfect for? That is who you need to market your property to, because there's so many options out there right now. You need to speak to specific people who this home would be perfect to, and that's where your marketing needs to be targeting. Also, highlight the savings. If you have a newer roof, if you're not in a flood zone, if there's low HOA fees, different things like that. If you have upgrades that others don't, talk about the things that persona that you are targeting would really find interesting or really want in their home, and highlight those things in your property and description and your staging. Also, consider concessions. Sometimes you don't have to necessarily lower the price, but offering something like, a credit at closing to redo the floors. If people hate the carpets in the home, just offering that credit instead might persuade somebody to, make an offer. And you might not have even had to offer how much you might have needed to lower the price. So that's one of the things to consider. All right, before we get into the news stories for the day, I just want to go over the interest rates real quick. Everything's shifting right now. It's going back and forth with the bond market and the economy. Things are uncertain. But as of right now, interest rates are at 7.2% on average for NerdWallet. Bank rate has them right around 7.5%. But let's go over and take a look at the bond market real quick so that I can show you the projections for where things seem to be heading. So we did just come out of a little decline in the bond market, the 10-year bond market, which dictates where mortgage rates are heading right now. So we did come out of that decline, and that was a bull flag. It's a flag down, but that means it's going to go back up. And as you can see with the RSI and the MACD, indicators are showing that we're going to be heading into another gain. So these rates are probably going to be heading higher. Like I said, this white line is my projection. So I think we're going to be hitting 8% interest rates in the next month or two. All right, now let's go over to the news stories. So the biggest thing right now in Florida, obviously you've all heard me talk about this before, insurance issues are real and they're a problem right now. Rising premiums and reduced availability of homeowners property insurance could drag on housing markets, development activity, overall economic growth, and ultimately tax bases for certain California and Florida local governments over time. We've talked about this a lot, but these are things that you need to be aware of if you are planning to buy. Or if you're selling, these are going to be affecting prices in the near future as well. It's going to be a problem for the next couple of years until things start to settle down a bit, hopefully, as long as, more catastrophes don't end up happening. We had a close call with the last hurricane and went, I don't want to say thankfully to Tampa, but it didn't hit us again. That would have probably devastated the beach. The next story, middle-class families leaving Fort Myers Beach. This is something a lot of people have been asking me about, what's going on with the beach. It is a little bit ironic. The prices before the hurricane hit were, around the $1 million ranges. And then afterwards, when the houses were gone, those lots were still selling for about $1 million, which was, in my opinion, crazy. But money is moving down here from a lot of places, Chicago, New York. So people are buying this up. And this article, unfortunately, is a sad reality of what's going on the beach right now. Many families are being forced off the beach due to the rising costs associated with living on a barrier island. Inflation, high demand for beach property, and more stringent rebuilding requirements are among the factors leading to gentrification on the beach. And that is what is happening. An entire class of people who were once able to afford living on Fort Myers Beach are now looking for homes off the island. And many have already moved, but are still holding on to those properties. For the most part, what's happening is these people are being forced off. More money is moving in because that's who can afford the insurance premiums or don't need the insurance on their homes. These bigger mansions that they're building now are already elevated. And because of those elevations, a lot of them withstood the hurricane, even the flooding. A lot of them were unscathed. So that's what's happening. But what's going to eventually end up happening to Fort Myers Beach is going to become more like Bonita's Beach and Naples beaches, where the homes are these mini mansions. And they are very expensive, and they're just unaffordable for most middle class earners. Little motels are being bought up 3 or 4 at a time. The properties are being combined by developers, and then people are getting $4 million for a piece of sand now, depending on where it is. The other thing with Florida, a lot of people, like I said, are moving from New York and California, and they're moving to Florida. And it's not just retirees. A lot of young rich professionals have started to move down here. Tax data is showing that. High earning millennials are increasingly attracted to these lower cost locales. This is a more attractive market to millennials. So you'll probably start seeing the demographics start to shift down here a little bit as well. Maybe not so much in the Southwest Florida region, but definitely Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa, those areas are flooded. And that's a hot spot for a lot of millennials coming down to the state of Florida. Here's something that we've been tracking for a while, and a lot of people have been talking about: the impacts of the Airbnb. Is there going to be a crash that starts or stems from Airbnbs? And one of the things that could really bring a lot of inventory are Airbnbs if that does happen and people stop, vacationing as much. Or what's happening in this particular article, cities start to ban these Airbnbs. what's going on right now in New York City. It's a de facto ban. New York City is working with booking service platforms like Airbnb and VO.com to basically effectively ban short-term apartment rentals that aren't registered with the city. Everybody wants their, they want their money. So this starts to catch on to a lot of these other bigger cities like Chicago and Los Angeles, California, Vegas. Those places are, they want, which is understandable, but at the same time, if that starts to catch fire, you could see a lot of Airbnbs start to, not be as appealing to investors. And if that happens, then we might see some inventory start to come on that could start to affect the markets a bit. Last piece of news that I wanted to address was just CPI. The stock market today, Wednesday's consumer price index is expected to pick up in inflation pressures, which is not good news. Economists predict the biggest monthly jump in 14 months. And the swap market is pricing in risk that it will come in even higher than expected. So that's not good. That means that inflation is starting to pick up again. If that does happen, they see a 50% chance that the central banks will deliver another rate hike in November. I think that that's what is going to happen. CPI is really the key, because if it halts downward trends, markets will have to price in more hawkish Fed. If the markets fed in, that means bonds are going to go up, which is going to drive interest rates back up, which is why I go over the 10-year bonds every week. So if that happens, we're going to see more downward pressure on housing prices and the housing market as a whole. But we'll have to see what plays out and what shakes out after all this. That's it for this week's Southwest Florida market update. If this is your first time on my channel and you have questions about buying or selling in Southwest Florida, you might want to start with my Insiders playlist, which is in the description below. That includes webinars, money and time-saving tips, frequently asked questions, and deep dive tours to help you get to know the area and the communities. And I know many of you have specific scenarios and questions that need a more in-depth look, so please don't be afraid to reach out to me anytime. I understand how much and how important this decision is to you and your loved ones. And this is my full-time passion, so it would be a pleasure to help you understand your options so you can make better decisions with confidence. Thanks again for watching. I hope to see you on the next video, but until then, stay safe, stay positive, and more importantly, stay free.